is titled Understanding Childhood Trauma. All right. So before I begin, I want you to take a deep breath with me and just know that this is a safe place. Whatever we are discussing today is not to judge anybody. It's just for us to be able to learn, to educate ourselves, and also to be able to create some hope for every one of us. Justin, stay here with us. Justin, stay here. Don't go anywhere. I can see you typing bye. Just stay here with us. So just stay here with us. So before we continue, quickly pick the link. I believe it has been shared on the comment section and share with somebody, with a parent, a friend, somebody who will benefit from this live stream because it matters to all of us. All right. Um, okay, so quickly we are going to dive into this program today. So let me go ahead and introduce myself because I know you would like to know why am I qualified to be the one talking to you here today? Why am I having this live session? My name is Patricia Abokede. I'm a developmental psychologist, a child rights activist, a trauma recovery coach. All right, a trauma informed parenting coach, a trauma recovery coach, and I'm also the founder of Abokede Initiative for Child Protection and Family Life Education. So all of this are just title. Before I came with all of this title sharing with you, I had experience of childhood trauma, which I'll be sharing with you in a short while. But for several years, I've worked with parents, teachers, caregivers, all right, helping them to understand how childhood experiences affect our behaviors, our emotion, and even the future, because we are a product of our childhood, all right? So I'm also the author of the book titled Break the Cycle of Child Abuse, Parenting Beyond Trauma. And I've also authored in a few other books that is helping parents to be able to do well in their parenting. So, like I said before, all of these titles, I had my own bout of childhood experience, and I know that a lot of people that are watching this live session today have gone through one abuse or trauma as children before. So I want you to know that you're not alone. You're not alone. All right. So I know what it feels like to be that little child, scared, you know, confused and unsure of a safe space. I know what that feels like. And before I explain what childhood trauma is, let me start with my own personal story. Growing up, I experienced some of abuse that changed my childhood forever. My parents made an important decision about their own life that affected me. And they decided to, um, because I was the third girl, being the third girl, they would say that I should wait for my younger brother to start his own primary education first. And I remember back then, I was always home because one other thing is that I miss my primary school. I failed, those days. It's either you do your extra exertion by putting the hand on your ears, or you 1 to 16, 1 to 20 rather. So I missed 16. I did 15, 17, and that was I couldn't start my primary school early. So I had to stay at home. My younger brother started school before me. And because of that particular decision, I, I used to stay with my father's colleague who was an assistant to him as a chief cook then, back then, to Nigerian gas cylinder. And that guy was taking advantage of me. So I had my first sexual abuse experience before the age of 7. At that time, I didn't have the name or the language to even name what was happening to me. I just knew something was wrong. Years later, okay, so years later, I began to realize that what I experienced, what I went through, was tied to childhood trauma, and understood that understanding that I went through an abuse changed everything for me. And I started researching on the topic childhood trauma. I started researching on it. So for the first time, I understood that the pain, the fear, the doubt that I carried into my adulthood was just a sign. It wasn't a sign of weakness. They were signs of, wounded um, pain that that is healing. All right. So, and that was why I'm so passionate. That's why I'm so passionate about this topic, childhood trauma or childhood, of bringing up children in a safe environment. Because when we understand childhood trauma, we don't just understand it for ourselves. We know that it is very important for us to raise generational, to break generational cycle and to raise children that are trauma free. So I share this because I know that a lot of people today are going through one trauma or the other. Maybe they went through a trauma in their childhood, or even in their adulthood, they are going through trauma or the other in their life, in their marriage, or even in workplaces. And I want you to know that there's a place for you to heal. And sometimes, some of us have seen children going through trauma. So I want you to know that you are not alone in this. We can work it together. You can build. You can pick up your bits and pieces if your life experiences is as a result of the trauma you went through as a child. Now, let me ask a quick question. With a show of hands, I want you to quickly share with me if you understand the word trauma. I want to see your hand. Just look for the emoji there and put your hand up. Let me see if do we have people who have understood that word or you have gone through it before, just with a show of hands. All right? I want to see. Or you understand it. Okay. So okay, quickly type on the comment section if you understand the word trauma. Type it. Let me see. I want to see your comments. Let's communicate with me, engage with me. Let me see what, if you are with me, you are hearing me, because with the typing or your communication, I'll be able to know we are together. All right. Okay. So many people think trauma is a one big event, like accidents or fire outbreak or a war or serious abuse. Trauma is not limited to big things. I want to see your comments. Justin, are you still with me here? Tam Civic, Tasmana Civic. Don't mind me if I'm bothering your name. All right. So I want to know. I want to get your feedback. All right. Trauma is not just those big things that we think when you say trauma. Maybe somebody had an accident, there was a fire outbreak, or IDP people alone. People go through trauma every day. Simple as neglecting a child, saying harsh words to a child, a child living in fear, constant rejection are ways we traumatize children. And if we don't understand these things, you will think they are things we can just do anyhow. We can talk to children anyhow. We can, spank them anyhow. We can do things anyhow. And we don't understand that those things are actually putting, they are traumatizing their mind, they are affecting their emotions. All right. So we need to be informed as parents or intending parents. So as I start this masterclass, I want you to keep something in your mind. Childhood trauma isn't just about what went wrong with the person. It's about what is happening to that person. So it's not just the events, but what is happening inside that person that you don't even know is majorly the trauma. So we will learn what childhood trauma is really, and what causes childhood trauma, how childhood trauma affects people in adulthood, and the most important is how healing is possible. Because even if you have been traumatized, you can heal. There's healing available for everybody. So let's begin with this journey together by asking this question: what is childhood trauma? All right. So childhood trauma happens when a child goes through experiences that are too overwhelming, too frightening, or too painful for that child to handle. It can be things like abuse, neglect, or violence. Now, but it's not also, it can also be emotional abuse, rather. It can also be emotional abuse like constant shouting, name calling, rejection, or growing up with in a space that there is no love and safety. Those can cause trauma to children. Many people think that preventing trauma means when you over pamper children. No, that's a big misconception. When we are talking about avoiding childhood trauma, avoiding child abuse, we're not talking about you over pampering your children, because people have misconceived that and they just feel they say we should not. No, that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about is that protecting children from trauma is that we raise children in a safe place, in a space with love and understanding. And there's no constant repetition of something that will trigger pain in those children. And we give them respect and space to air themselves also. Think of it like this. A child is like a young tree. And if you nurture the roots of that tree very well, that tree will grow tall and strong. But if the root has been damaged, the tree may also grow, but it may be bent. It may have stunted growth. And that is what trauma looks like to children. Okay. So, what causes childhood trauma? So many things can cause childhood trauma. So, example are physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, or neglect. For example, not giving a child food, avoid prevent a child offended, you say, okay, you are not eating today, you are not going to, you deprive a child what he needs normal survive for survival because the child offended or something. Or witnessing violence, some homes where there's continuous chaos, continuous domestic violence. You may think you are fighting your spouse, but you're also traumatizing the children in that home. Or when there's a separation or loss, when children experience death of their loved ones, parents, grandparents, or their breadwinner, or there's a separation in the home, parents are not living together. One parent is living in the north, another parent is living in the south. Children experience trauma because of lack of communication, and they are not enjoying the love between the two parents at the same time. Or it could also be separation due to divorce. Children go through trauma because when adults are fighting themselves, just like this saying that when two elephants are fighting, the grass under suffers. So when there's a divorce, children go through serious trauma. And that's why we have lots of children that are coming up with different misbehaviors and all of this. When the father of the home is not available, it's a big problem. That's one challenge that is happening in the Western country. Most of their fathers are in the prison or they're into a rehab center or something. This traumatizes children a lot because children deserve the love of the two parents. Constant rejection, shaming a child. Even there are some cultures in some schools, they sing shame songs to children. We may think it's just fun, but those children we are reducing their emotional, we are giving emotional trauma sometimes. And sometimes telling a child you are not enough, you are this, you calling children names, you are stupid, you are this, you are that. Those experiences traumatize children. Some children, when they have lived with those things for too long, even when they are grown up and they are doing well, they feel they are still not doing enough. So name calling a child can cause some trauma. So trauma isn't about what happened, but also about how it's made that child to feel inside that child. Now, trauma, um, sometimes it's very important for us to know that trauma is not just doesn't stay in childhood. When children have been traumatized, they carry that trauma into adulthood, like I shared with you. Growing up, I was very aggressive, very I can't even remember, I can't even express my attitude then. But I got to realize that it was my childhood trauma that put me to that emotional turmoil. And a lot of people need to know that some of the things they are going through as an adult is as a result of your childhood experiences. A child who grows up feeling unsafe, unloved, may become an adult who is struggling with anxiety, depression, or anger issues. There are so many angry adults out there because growing up it wasn't fun for them. So everything just get them angry. Some of them, when they see stress, they are unnecessary anxious, and they can't cope with stress. Trouble having trust with people. Some people cannot trust anybody. They can't even trust themselves because of the lack of love and trust they have experienced in childhood. Low self-esteem and constant self-doubt. These are things that exhibit in adulthood if a child went through trauma. Difficulty handling stress and managing emotional challenges. Some people cannot manage stress at all. Stress is part of life. It's just when it is too much, it's not good. But as an human being, you have to go through one stress or the other. And one of the skills God has given us is to be able to manage stress properly. So when you are unable to manage stress effectively, it could be because you went through childhood trauma. Repeating unhealthy cycle or crisis. With my work with working with people, I've had people say, I made up my mind that I will not treat my children the way my parents treated me. But they realized that they're actually repeating that cycle because that was how they grew up. That was what they knew. That was what they knew as parenting. Or people who grew up in a very toxic marriage environment. They, they vow that I will not touch my wife, I will not do this. But they just say that they are doing that thing again because of their childhood experiences. So trauma don't end in children, so that we don't think the child will forget about it. The child may not forget about it. The child may grow with it if the child did not it didn't heal in that process. Now the good news is that it's possible to heal. Healing is possible. Childhood trauma leaves scars, that's true. And why is this scar? Because there is a healing. So it is possible to heal. And how do you heal? If you have the right support, anyone going through pain can be free. So how do we heal? How does healing begin? The first is acknowledging your story. If you have gone through trauma, now we've had a lot of things already, you need to acknowledge it. Our awareness is important. When we go through self-denial, constant denial, we are not ready to heal. You need to understand that I went through these experiences. Don't bury it, own it, then seek help. Now, seek help through therapy, counseling, and safe support group. There are so many counselors out there, so many therapists out there. Seek help. It's about your life. Take time to find help. If you need to spend money, take time to spend money and get some healing. Then by practical self-care, by practicing self-care, it's important to also love yourself. Some people live a life that obviously doesn't show that they love themselves because they have gone through so many pains and so many childhood experiences, and they lack self-love. So we need to intentionally build self-care practices. Learning how to healthy coping skills is important. And then by breaking the cycle, you need to be intentional. Make up your mind that I want this cycle to be broken. If you went through toxic we went through toxic parents, you don't need to repeat that cycle. You need to tell yourself enough is enough. I want to build a new me. I want a generation that is trauma free. Choosing to parent differently from your parents, choosing to love differently, even if you have gone through, you've been unloved all your life, you can build it. Really, there's a saying that you can't give what you don't have. But now that you know, like I said, you have to identify with it and you have to start seeking help. Now that you know that,